Nini's origin. When I was born, I remember the first thing I ever saw was a beautiful, bountiful woods. The air fresh and clear, the fading sun rays danced upon my fur as the sun sets. The first thing I felt was my mom. My mother cleaning me with the comforting warmth of her tongue. I remember being curled up into her belly. It was so soft and warm. I felt so safe. The first sounds I heard was, "I love you, my special little fawn. I'll call you Nini, because my name is Nee." Nini. I was happy to be named after my mother. I see a strong buck pierce through the bushes, sniffing his way towards me. My head slowly raised, my nose touching his. I didn't need someone to tell me that this was my father. The first sound I made was a little ning. My father's eyes looked at me with so much pride and joy. The first thing I felt was happy. My father would curl around both my mother and I, shielding us from whatever else could be in the woods. But I wasn't scared. With my mother and father with me, how could I? I was a little weaker than most fawns. It took me a couple days to learn to walk. When I finally did walk, though, I was full of wonder, curiosity, and insatiable desire for adventure. As my father took the lead, herding us out of the woods, I would often run off, chasing a butterfly, chewing on leaves I've never tried before, or bouncing in puddles. My parents would often stop and wait for me, but they were never mad at me. In fact, a couple times, my dad would chase me around, and then I'd chase him, or my mother will teach me about plants, what's good to eat and what's bad. While getting to the clearing took some time due to me constantly running off. When we did make it, it was beautiful. Water as clear as the sky, berries on almost every bush, kids like me running around, playing, or being cleaned and groomed by their mothers. I got used to living in the clearing pretty quickly. The amazing thing about the clearing is that all types of animals would stop by, not just us deers. There were birds, raccoons, pigs, cows, sheep, chickens, bears, and more, of course. I had trouble making friends with female fawns like me. All they liked to do was sit by the water, sunbathe, and stay close to their mothers. I tried playing with them once by headbutting or chasing them, but they just started to run away. I was a little disappointed. They told me to stop acting like a stag. So instead of playing with the other doe, I started playing with the stags. However, they didn't want me because I was a doe, and I'd probably get hurt. So I just stood back and watched. I didn't fit in with the doe because I act like a stag, but the stags wouldn't let me play because I was a doe. I didn't feel sad, but I was very frustrated, so I went to see my father, Ryni. Dad was busy teaching young bucks and stags how to fight and defend, so I had to wait. I look up to my father a lot. He's the leader of our herd, and his right hoof buck was my Uncle Boofer. When my dad noticed me waiting in the corner for him, he hoofed things off to Uncle Boofer. My dad butts his head against mine, as we usually do, and walk away from the herd. "Nini, my lovely fawn, what are you doing here?" he says. I don't know why, but while I don't mind being called a doe, I feel like that's not all I am. My father took me through the woods as we walked and talked. "Father, I think I'm different. I don't act like the other doe, nor do I want to." My father looked at me, letting out a soft snore. "When you were born, Nee, I knew the moment your nose touched mine, you'd be different. It is true you're not like the other doe fawns. You're more adventurous and brawny. I tried to understand my father's words, but I didn't get it. Listen, Nini, you may have been born a doe, but in your heart and spiritually, you are more like a stag. That is when I started to understand. Nothing was wrong with me. I was just born in the wrong body. I thanked my father before running off to the other kids. I wanted to truly see if that was the problem, so I asked to play with the stags, that I don't care if they roughhouse or if I get a little bruised. I never had so much fun in my life. From then on, I'd play with the stags almost every day. We would play all types of games, and I was pretty good at all of them. I was even the leader for most games. I felt like my papa. Sadly, those happy days turned sour. I remember being curled up to my mama, sleeping so soundly, when the sound of a crack, then boom, rang loudly. My mama was sick, and Papa was out on an adventure, so I knew I had to step up and be the buck of the family. I ran out of our little burrow and looked up to the sky. It was orange and yellow, but not in the same way when the sun goes down. There was smoke, and I didn't know what to do. I always wanted to be a leader like my father, but I froze. I watched as a stampede of animals run from the woods, frozen in fear, shaking. Then I felt the familiar comforting fur push me down and cover me. I looked up. My mama was shielding me with her entire body. I cried, screaming for her to stop. She's sick and she will be badly hurt, but she just smiled down at me. Her tears drop onto my face. I watch as hoofs and claws clobber my mother, her legs shaking with weakness and pain. Then the sound of crashing trees boomed and shook the ground. My fur being kissed by an unbearable heat, the beautiful water was tainted with blood. I watch in horror, seeing all the fawns scared, looking for their parents. I look at my friend Audrey, trying to run to me. My mother suddenly shouted through painful, bloody breaths, "Don't look, Nini!" My eyes widened. It felt like I saw everything in slow. Audrey ran. Audrey stopped. Audrey was squashed. I felt her blood splatter on my face, her innards squished out between the fallen logs, staining the dark oak even darker. The stampede finally subsided, but I was frozen. I slowly looked to see my mother bleeding, hoof prints bludgeoned into her feeble body. I didn't know what to do except scream. My mother nudged me away with her head, looking at me with teary eyes, laying as the light slowly left her eyes and the fire rising higher. "My sweet Nini," she said through shaky breaths. I tried to drag her away. "My baby. Doe or stag, I love you, my baby. Please remember." She breathed heavy. I felt her body slowly going cold. "Live. Please live." With the last strength she had, she shoved me with her head as the flames engulfed her body. Her screams echo in my mind. Mama was getting hurt because of me. Because I'm not strong like a buck yet. I'm still just a little fawn, still a doe. My body was shaking, my legs felt weak. I was salivating uncontrollably from the heat. I couldn't breathe, and not just because of the smoke. Why did no deer help? Why didn't they stop? They kept running over her. Why didn't they stop when they saw me in danger? Audrey in danger? Mama, why did they run over us like we were bugs? Why? Monsters. They are all nothing but selfish monsters. The rising flames matched my anger. If Papa was here, he would have helped us, all of us. Papa. I need to find my Papa. I look behind me, where every deer ran off to safety. I let out a small huff before running deeper into the burning forest. Every part of my body was in pain, my body and mind screaming at me to go back, but my heart and soul told me to find Papa. My vision was hazy, and I couldn't stop panting. Papa! Papa, where are you? My voice was weak and dry. My entire body was in so much pain, but it's nothing compared to the pain of my mother. What she went through. It's all your fault, though. A small whisper in my head that I ignored at first. I had to be brave and find my father. You tried to be brave before and got your mother killed. The whispers were getting unbearably loud. It's all your fault. All your fault. My breathing got quicker. You were born weak. You'll never be like your father. All your fault. All your fault. Not brave. Not at brave. I'm not brave. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I'm not brave. Then, my legs gave up on me, and I rolled to the ground. No. More like I gave up. The sound of crashing trees and roaring flames made my ears ring. The flames burned my body, but why do I feel so cold? Mama, Papa, I'm scared. Papa, where are you? Tears fell from my eyes as my body starts to finally slow down. I cried as my memories quickly flashed before my eyes because I didn't get a long life. I'm still just a kid. I wanted to grow up. I wanted to be like Papa, but what hurts most of all, I'm not dying like a noble stag I wanted to grow up to be. I'm dying as a weak little doe. Live. Please live. Sorry, Mama. It's all my fault. The last thing I felt was cold. The last thing I heard was, live. Please live. The last thing I saw was the stars. The last breath I drew was short. Oh, you poor creature. It is much too soon for you to die. Let me make it rain to put out this flame and give you a new one. Plip, 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 plip. Plip, 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 plip. Plip, 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 plip. Plip, 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 plip. Plip, 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 plip. Something feels nice. It's wet and cool. Why am I feeling? I'm supposed to be dead. Calm your mind, my dear. Just this once, you will be given a new chance at life. I felt my body being lifted into a silky soft like fiber, then a gentle hand running down from my head to my back, then to my head again, repeatedly. A new life? Yes, my dear. You must wait patiently, though, for your new family. My heart awoke from its slumber, beating happily at the word family. How will I know when my new family is here? I thought to myself. You'll know when you look up, not at the sky, but still see the stars. The soft and caring voice didn't smell like an animal or a human. My father warned me about it all. It smelled beautiful, though. What are you? I slowly started to drift into silence once more. A goddess, she whispered. So I waited for this family to come find me, and waited, and waited. I waited very patiently, still unconscious. I thought death would take me once more, until a sweet, gentle, soft voice was the only thing I heard. Oh, you poor thing! Don't worry, I'll heal you. Let's get you put out of this rain. I don't remember much after this creature touched me. I just felt safe again. Eventually, I opened my eyes, but I was surrounded by a bluish, fluffy darkness. I began to panic, but froze in fear when I heard the quick sounds of hoofs? No, these sound different. Oh, don't panic, I'm coming, little... This creature lifted the darkness off of me, and the first thing I saw was a pink-haired creature staring at me, shocked. This creature didn't really smell human either. You're not the same deer I took home, are you? I tilted my head confused. I looked down and my body stiffens. My hooves were replaced with these fleshy bits, with longer fleshy bits sticking out. I shake the fluffy blue thing off of me and felt a little release, my ears twitching. Part deer, part human? A hybrid? Was this because of my The creature stops itself midway and then looks at me. They reach out to touch me and I quickly smacked its hand away, scooting back into a corner of this badly made structure. The creature stepped back as well, giving me my space. Sorry, you must be more confused and frightened than me. Look, I'm currently on an adventure of sorts, searching for a home. You can follow me if you want. Adventure? Why does that sound so familiar? And why do I feel so happy at the thought of this adventure? I didn't trust this creature, but I also didn't want to be alone. So I followed them at a distance. I ate at a distance, slept at a distance, I kept everything at a distance. Eventually, that distance got smaller, smaller, and smaller, till I ended up one day laying my head on their lap. The creature reached out to touch me, and I flinched. They quickly stopped just before my head, their hand hovering. I'm sorry, do you not want me to touch you? I stay silent. I have stayed silent the entire time. Do I even know how to talk like this creature? I just grabbed their hand and slowly placed it on my head. They started to pet me, a familiar feeling. I closed my eyes, remembering another divine creature that patted me. Then, a past memory resurfaced. A doe and a buck laying around a fawn, gently grooming them in a beautiful woods. You know, I don't think I told you my name. My name is Starlight. My eyes snap open. I slowly look up into this creature's eyes, and I swear, I saw the stars. Do you have a name? My name? I stare into her eyes, remembering my past life all at once. My mouth slowly opens, hanging agape. Ni? I do not sound like I used to. Speaking was different. Star tilted her head, still petting my hair. Ni? Is your name Ni? No, that was my mother's name. I'm Nini, or I used to be her. My mama Ni, my papa Ryner. Ryni. Star smiled, hugging me gently. Ryni? I like that name. Ryni and Starlight on adventures. Doesn't that sound nice? She got up and looked for something in this leathery sack she wears. Well, Ryni, let's celebrate. How do you feel about this being the day that marks your birthday? She pulls out this small, unmoving bear and hands it to me. Birthday? Yes, happy birthday, Ryni. My life before wasn't long or had a happy end, but I hope this new one with Star, Will, and Mr. Snufflesberry, of course.